Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Blue Podcast. This is the NFL edition of the Red, White, and Blue Show with me and Conor. This is episode 2 of me and Conor speak about the NFL. It's also Conor's birthday today, so Conor's in extra happy spirits. So, Conor, how are you doing?
Doing all right, a little tired because it is still pretty early, but I'm in good mood. You know, it's my birthday. I'm excited to celebrate. I'm still rather young. I'm 22 today. So shout out to my parents for having me. But yeah, no, just excited to get on with the day, excited to celebrate.
I hope you're not working. I hope you're not working today.
I thought about it and I did have a meeting at 9:15 and I canceled it and decided that I'm not going to work.
Not gonna work. So basically, what me and Conor are going to be doing today is we're going to just be going over some of the big games from week 2. Some very, very exciting games, and then we'll just quickly talk about the Ravens and the Dolphins. Next game's coming up, and then we'll end it there. So let's start off with probably second best game of the week between Washington and the Giants. Washington beating the Giants 30-29 Thursday Night Football. Tyler Haneke, wow. He was named as the backup this year to Ryan Fitzpatrick. 34 out of 46 passes, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Daniel Jones only 22 passes out of 32 for 249 with 1 touchdown. A game where probably a lot more high scoring than I thought, because the Washington offense isn't particularly good, but their defense is really good. But it's a really big win for Washington, and I think this is some sort of a good traditional divisional game that you get in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of game that Washington needs, especially in the division there. And they're in one of the worst divisions, if not the worst division in the entire NFL. So being able to get off to a win against a division rival, especially one of the Giants who, Danny Jones is no slouch. He's been proven that he's got talent. He's going to be able to, be able to make some moves and play very well for the Giants. It's huge. I mean, like you said, their defense is usually pretty sound, so it's a little bit concerning, I'd say, giving up 29 points to the Giants. But they're going to come out of the week with a win, and I think that's really all that matters in the end. But I can bet you that film session this week is still not going to be a happy one from the amount of points they gave up to that Giants team.
Just very quickly on the Giants. Do you think that they may do what the Jets did this year and maybe now look towards getting a new quarterback next year if it's free agent or about a job? Because Dan Jones has struggled these first 2 weeks. Yes, the O-line is capitulatingly bad, and he doesn't have many weapons around him. But it seems like Giants are turning on him, and Joe Judge, obviously the head coach of the Giants, isn't particularly a big favour of Daniel Jones. That's why the plays are very simple. Do you think Daniel Jones's time as the New York quarterback maybe run it?
I mean, I can see why they move on from him. If he continues to struggle, even with this bad O-line, I can see when they move on to him. And if he's not favored, then obviously it's going to be a big chance that he goes and they look for somebody in free agency, or they go and maybe try and get someone like Deshaun Watson once everything clears up with him. But for right now, I say, the biggest problem, if you're not going to give him weapons around you and not going to give him an O-line, it's really hard to perform as a quarterback unless you're really special. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not some, MVP caliber quarterback who can do everything without needing a great O-line. He's a decent quarterback who's basically surrounded by crap. So, I mean, I don't blame him for not playing super well, but if he's not favored by the head coach, then yeah, his time might be up after this year.
On to probably a surprise reversal. The Heinz Field, the Raiders beating the Steelers 26-17. The Raiders not only beat the Ravens week 1, they beat the Steelers away from home week 2, start the season 2-0. Yeah, Big Ben struggled. 27 passes out of 40, 295 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Meanwhile, Derek Carr, 28 passes out of 37 for 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, it's obvious that the Steelers' offense is not particularly great. Big Ben is now also carrying a very bad injury, and he's uncertain if he'll play week 3. So but for the Raiders, like, are people going to be sleeping on the Raiders this year? They beat the Ravens, and fairly so, 2-0, and put 26 points up against a very good Steelers defense. Are the Raiders maybe going to be a bit of an underdog this season?
No, because this happens every year. If you look at historically the past couple of years, this is not new. The Raiders always show promise at the beginning of the year, and by the end of the year, they're losing to the Dolphins while tugging on Ryan Fitzpatrick's face mask, and he's still completing a 30-yard bomb to win by a field goal. It's just what happens. I think the Raiders are one of the most overrated teams every single year, and Derek Carr is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the entire NFL. But Big Ben has passed it. Plain and simple, Big Ben, for the sake of himself, he's been a great quarterback. He's been a legendary quarterback for that Steelers team. It's time for him to retire. The
Yeah, but
Steelers need to have a new quarterback come next year.
he doesn't have the mobility anymore, does he? He's just a lot of the plays that the Steelers have to do with him is very quick. Screens, quick slants. He can't hold onto the ball because if he gets hit and he gets hurt, and he got hit I think 4 times. I think Mike Tomlin was saying against the Raiders, and now he's picked up quite a bad injury, which may
Yeah,
or may not put him
if you don't have the mobility, you have to at least be able to be really, really good at throwing the ball in the pocket, which we've seen with Brady and Manning, who both, I get they're the two greatest of all time. I think honestly, yeah, they are the top two greatest of all time. Manning, I think, just edging out Brady, but that'll get me hate probably. But you still have to be able to throw the ball for more than screens and slants if you're going to be a quarterback. And if you don't have the mobility to do anything else but that, your time's really just up.
The 49ers beat the Eagles 17-11. The Eagles probably a bit more competitive than some people thought. Browns beat the Texans 31-21. A bit of a closer game, but a big blow to the Texans. Obviously, Deshaun Watson is currently inactive. They don't plan to play him at all this year. Tyrod Taylor tore his hamstring against the Browns, so he's out for 4 weeks. He was placed on IR yesterday. So they will be starting rookie quarterback David Mills, a third-round pick, against in the next game. I think it's against the Panthers. I think it's against the Panthers on Thursday Night Football. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, the Texans, if you thought things could get any worse, they're going to be playing a third-round rookie quarterback after Tyrod Taylor coming in.
And he gets to go up again. He gets to go up against the Panthers team that's coming off a very, very shock and all win. It's funny that we see the Saints beat the Packers in a shock and all win, and then the Panthers take them behind the woodshed and give them their own spanking in week 2 in a shock and all win. I think it's the Saints season. I can't really predict how they're going to do now because I thought, they'd come out and beat the Packers by a lot week 1, but now they've just come out and lost to the Panthers by by almost 20 points. So, you kind of have to go, how is this team actually going to do?
Well, let's go into this game because let's look at James Winston's stats again for the Saints. He only attempted 22 passes, only completing 11 of them for 101 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, which is nasty. Let's look at Sam Darnold, 26 passes out of 30, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. This Saints team are struggling without a quarterback, aren't they? Because they do not look anywhere near the team they looked last year.
Have you seen the rushing stats?
The rushing stats are terribly bad.
Yeah, combined 13 yards rushing by their 3 running backs. That's including Alvin Kamara. That's not excluding him. That's including. And for me, if you're an NFL fan and you've been watching the NFL for a while, Jameis Winston, this kind of is a game that doesn't surprise you, him playing like this. He's never been that great. He's been a big interception-prone quarterback. So to see him have a game like this isn't really a shock to me. Is it a shock a little bit to me after how he played week 2? Yes, but it's not a complete shock.
Do you think we might see Taysom? Do you think they might start Taysom Hill week 3?
No, I think they'll stick with Jason unless Winston really messes up. And it's a game where it literally is all because this was not all on him. The rushing game was awful.
The Bronx are beat the Panthers, beat the Jags 23-13. Trevor Lawrence, 14 out of 33 passes, only for 118 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. Do you think there's a potential that Trevor Lawrence is, this Jags team's awful. Right? Let's just get it. They are really, really bad. All right, they've improved, but they're still quite bad. Do you think there's been a slight mistake rushing Trevor Lawrence into a really bad team this quick? You look at what the 49ers are doing with Trey Lance. You look at what the Bears are doing. Obviously, starting Andy Dalton before he got injured. It's the same. It's the same with obviously the Jets with Zach Wilson into the deep end. Do you think maybe they've made a mistake for Trevor Lawrence? Because are they going to ruin his confidence before he gets probably used to the NFL? Because his first 2 weeks, yeah,
I mean, for me, I don't think so. Because, this team is bad. It's a really bad team. So I think he can kind of take solace in the fact that this team is bad. It's not completely on him. Yes, I think he's had a really, really, really tough start. But I think I think they're honestly going to tank again and go for another weapon, whether that's a defensive weapon or if that's a weapon on the offense to give Trevor Lawrence. They're going to tank and get another weapon. But I think the key for Trevor Lawrence this year is to make sure he keeps his head held high and just keeps running with it, because I get it. This team is awful. But I think the situation in Jacksonville and the situation in San Francisco and in Chicago are vastly different situations, and that's why we're seeing Trevor Lawrence start this early.
The Rams beat the Colts 27-24. Shocking news: Carson Wentz already injured, spraining both of his ankles against the Rams. We're not going to talk about this game too much because it was a game that the Rams were dominating pretty much the whole game. But then Mark Stafford threw an interception, got the Colts back into the Rams defense, held up. But Carson Wentz, man, he can't stay healthy, can he? Like, this is another injury to his list, and there's a good chance that he'll be out. And I think it's James Easton, you call him, will have to start for the Colts on week 3. It's Carson Wentz, man, he just can't stay fit. And it's ruining his career, all of his injuries, isn't it?
This guy it just seems to be like this is a worse version and situation as the Andrew Luck situation. Quarterback that just can't stay healthy to the point where I really am in the opinion that this is his last year. This needs to be. The amount of injuries he gets year after year, he is way too injury prone to, I think, continue to be a quarterback. And we may see another early retirement. We see one every year. We saw Andrew Luck. Last year we saw Luke Kuechly, which was a huge shock as he's, I think, already going to go to the Hall of Fame just from the 8 years he had in the league. I think this year, though, we see someone in Carson Wentz who could be a great quarterback if he could stay healthy for more than a couple weeks.
On to heartbreaking. The Bills blow out the Dolphins in Miami 35-0. Yeah, this was a game that the Dolphins really don't want to look at. Tua obviously going off injured. He completed one pass at 4 for 13 yards. And then Jimmy Brissett came in, sucked, to be perfectly honest. The defense gave up 3 turnovers. Brissett threw an interception on his first pass. He came in. This is, I think, if there's you could just see Brian Farnells is going to be sitting there thinking, what the actual F just happened? He'll not be happy, will he?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because this is a decent Dolphins team. We saw it last week with them being able to take down the Patriots, and it's even more frustrating because Brissett completed 24 passes. He went for less than 200 yards, and that's frustrating because this team we could have easily either been close in that game or maybe even won that game. But it's based on the fact that once Tua left, our offense basically shut down. And it's unfortunate. I hate it. I hate the fact that we're now having Tua out because the offense does run a little bit better with Tua in there. And We don't know how long he's out.
As obviously to say, Owen Van will have not a lot. Obviously, he had Rams project last year, but I don't think many have too much faith in Jimmy Brissett, do they? Because he didn't exactly light up the world against the Bills for a
No,
guy
I,
who
I
has a lot of
think I
experience.
think this lowers expectations a ton when it comes to how he'll play as a backup to Tua.
The Patriots beat the Jets 25-6. The Jets are shit.
No, it's not a shot.
Zach Wilson with 4 interceptions. Like it's not good. Like it's not good. But listen, the Jets are the Jets. Then we'll tell what happens to them. Bears beat the Bengals. Andy Dalton is on IR, so we'll see Justin Fields as a starter from week 3, which will be exciting. The Bucks beat the Falcons 40-25. Nothing surprising. Oh, look, can I just say I feel bad for Matt Ryan. I've watched Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan. Let's just put this into context, right? Matt Ryan for 35 passes completed out of 46, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yes, he did throw 3 interceptions, but he can still throw the ball well, bloody good. And my God, he's in the back. He could play for like the Dolphins or for
Got a
a
total
Jet.
of 49 yards rushing out of that running game. I'd love him
That's
in Miami. I will say now, I think he thrives in Miami, and I think I'd love to have him there because I think in Miami he gets a lot of weapons. They gave away his biggest weapon in Julio Jones, and I think you put him in Miami, I think he actually does a lot better. But I think he's reaching. I know I feel like I'm saying this about literally every single quarterback, but it's nearing the end of his career. I think you don't see him for too much longer before he hangs it up like Breeze did.
also just to say a player who's obviously the backup to Matt Ryan, Josh Rosen, obviously. I'll obviously
What
remember
a
Josh.
bust, man! What an absolute bust.
Cardinals and the Vikings 34-33 to Arizona. But can we just say, oh my goodness me, did Kyler Murray play out of his skin? Yes, he threw for 2 interceptions, but 400 yards passing, 29 passes, 3 touchdowns. He threw some absolute dimes, like some incredible dimes, deep balls. Also, their rushing game, very, very good from Edmonds, Kyler Murray himself, and James Conor. Listen, the Vikings give them a really good game. I don't think the Vikings could have done too much more. But this Cardinals team, they're proving why they're not going to be, they shouldn't be slapped on this year. Everyone's saying Rams and Seahawks for that division, but the Cardinals 2-0, 2 very, very good wins. Kyler Murray, they're playing the best we've seen him ever so far. This is not a team to be overshadowed when it comes to the
We
AFC
knew
North.
this team wasn't going to be a team to be scoffed at.
NFC
This
West.
Cardinals team is very good. Shout out to Dalvin Cook, by the way, for getting me 17 points in my fantasy team, helping me win my week by. But no, this isn't. It's a game that I'm not surprised by. It's a very good Vikings team against a very good Cardinals team. It's going to be a very, very interesting year for both sides. I think. Yes, there are the interceptions, like you said, but he's just so good, man. Kyler Murray is a freak of nature. We talked about it earlier. Kyler Murray is just an absolute nut. It's insane how good he is.
On to Lumen Field now. This was a bit of a surprise. Seattle Seahawks losing against the Tennessee Titans at home, which is something you don't hear too much about the Seahawks now. To basically sum up, the Seahawks scored 3 points on offense in the first quarter, 21 points in the second quarter, and then only 6 points the entire second half. This just sums up the Seattle Seahawks perfectly, Conor. This it's a team that has moments of brilliance. They have some really good players. But you think about the players that they have on defense. Yes, they're maybe corners are a bit short, but some of their players, on the defensive line, Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, and the players that they have on offense kind of speaks for itself. Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Everett. But it sums up Seattle, like they just aren't consistent at all. And even with the new defensive play caller, Sean Payton, a lot of hype. The second half, they did no better than what they did last year. This Seattle team just lack consistency, and it's always their downfall year beyond year. And they should be. You look at what the Cardinals did to the Titans last year, and also given Seattle were 24-9 up at halftime. Like
It's a
just
bad look.
you just don't understand what happens if the Seattle team, do you?
That team's never recovered from that 1 yard line pass that got picked off in the Super Bowl by the Patriots. They've never recovered. This team, like you said, lacks consistency. This team needs to be a team where if they're putting up that many points and they're up by that, you should not be losing a lead like that. Plain and simple.
You think about it, like we also just say Derrick Henry 35 carries for 182 yards, just Derrick Henry.
He's a absolute workhorse.
Tannehill's actually have to throw a touchdown this entire game. Nor an interception for Ryan Tannehill, but but you think about this Titans defense. The Titans defense isn't very good, right? Let's just be plain and honest. They're not a very good defense. The Cardinals destroyed them. Like at home, you think about Seattle, them and Field, the 12th man, incredible, but they put 6 points up against one of the probably top 10 worst defense in the NFL. The Titans, like it's bad, like it's seriously for all the hype that this team had. It's just. Do you think the Seattle team could win the division, or do you think they're going to be too inconsistent to win it?
They're too inconsistent. I would love, for Billy's sake, or for Joe's sake, I forget which one of them is a Seahawks fan. I love for their sake to win it, but I just don't see it happening.
The Cowboys beat the Chargers 2017. Dak Prescott again with a very, very good game. It's a very good
quarterback, man. They're really good at throwing for a lot of yards that do absolutely nothing.
The go to LA, get a win. That's another good win for the Cowboys. That's their first win of the season.
Yeah, they barely lost to the Bucs last week, so I think this is a team that's going to easily win their division.
I do agree with that. And then on to what is by far game of the week. The Ravens beating Kansas City 36-35. You've seen the highlights of this game. What did you make of it?
Ravens defense is awful. You are super lucky to have escaped that week with a win. Lamar Jackson with 2 really stupid picks. First one, nowhere near his receiver. Second one, into triple coverage, really should not have probably made that pass. Really got let back in by the fact that Chiefs defense basically stopped. You got one really good stop, I will give you that, but that fumble does not happen. Mahomes goes down and kicks a game-winning field goal, and you guys are done.
What did you make of John Harbaug's decision to go for the 4th and 1?
That's smart. You have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, makes that decision a lot easier. Same situation, Mahomes would have gone for it, same as you guys did. So I think, when you have a great quarterback, it's easier to trust it.
Do you think the play call was a bit weird? Do you think Lamar basically snaps and just runs right through the middle of the line, or do you think maybe you would have felt like maybe Latavius Murray, a big power back, running for it? Do you think that was the right call to kind of catch a chase off guard?
No, because even me people will be like, "Oh, he's just blah blah blah." It's basically it'll be the NFL version of just FIFA whatever. But whenever I play Madden, you get 4th and 1, you do not chance a handoff. You get the quarterback and you run him as hard as you can straight into the middle, and that's why they put in extra O-linemen. Basically said, "All right, let's create a wall and just push. All we need is a couple yards." They got it.
Also, just to say, what do you think? Obviously, the running back situation for the Ravens, using all 3 of our running backs, but Tyson Williams, the starter, 77 yards for 13 carries. Latavius Murray came in, 36 yards for 9 carries, 1 touchdown. Devonta Freeman only had 3 carries, but one of them was a really massive run that got the Ravens up the pitch. Ravens clearly don't have an issue running the ball this year, and Le'Veon Bell still chilling on the practice squad when he gets to match fitness. So the Ravens aren't going to have an issue running the ball this year, are they?
I think they honestly won't have a bigger problem as we thought when they lost their 3 running backs. Williams is good. Devonta Freeman, I think, deserves more touches. And you always have Lamar Jackson, who ran for over 100 yards. So I think this is a good team. I think you guys are going to have no problem doing either running or throwing the ball, honestly.
And then just to end it on Monday Night Football, Packers beat the Lions 35-17. So I said we'll quickly preview Week 3 here for the Dolphins and the Ravens. So we'll start off with my team, the Ravens. I think 6 o'clock kickoff's 1 o'clock. Is it for you? Is that what it is in America?
It's a 10 a.m. game for me.
There we go. The Ravens are playing the Lions away from home. Probably an easy one for the Ravens. Can't see Jared Goff and the Lions really doing much against the Ravens. Do you think?
No, they're going to get spanked. It's going to be like a naughty kid and it's going to be like a naughty kid in element getting put in timeout and basically told that you're going to be doing nothing for the entire game.
And then the Dolphins away to the LA Raiders. Will the Dolphins bounce back, or will the Raiders go 3-0? I guess Tua plays a big part if he can play in this, but I really doubt he will.
I think makes a big impact whether he plays or not, and how this O-line. Flores is going to be shuffling around the O-line this next week. You're going to see our tackles switching sides. You're going to see a little bit of differences in who's playing at guard on either side. So it'll depend on how they perform and whether or not we get back to I think we can. We beat them last year. But, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this and go 1-2. It's the Dolphins. As much as I love them, it's frustrating.
Well, that's it. I said this is a very quick chat, so that does bring the end to it. So we're keeping it short because it's your birthday today. It's early for you, and so we keep these NFL videos nice and short, so it's easy for people to enjoy. So Conor, thank you very much for coming. Enjoy your birthday. Don't get too drunk. I'm sure I'll be keeping it on Snapchat for any weird snaps or anything you put in. But again, thank you very much for coming. Enjoy the rest of your birthday. And wait, sorry, just to say, I was just reading down there. Adam Sheffield has confirmed Tua Tagovailoa has fractured ribs and is out on Sunday. So there you go. Jamie Brissett will be starting.
Oh yeah, we're losing by like 20.
And a guy called Reed Sinnott will be the backup. Whoever.
See, he was decent in preseason. He was actually really good. I think he threw for over 300 yards in like week 4 in preseason for us. He's like one of our final cuts. He was actually pretty decent. I'd rather have him than Brissett at this point.
All right, so that's a good thing I was looking down on Twitter there, just as I was doing your joke. So yes, Tua Tagovailoa is officially out on Sunday. So
well, that blows.
I hope Jamie Brissett saves his best performance. So Conor, thank you very much for joining. Enjoy your birthday, mate. Happy 22nd. Enjoy your drinks. Enjoy your night. And I hope since I don't care about the League Cup nor the Dolphins because they're on the other side of the bracket. I don't know. I'm not too worried about the Dolphins. I don't think they'll get to the playoffs. But I hope the Dolphins beat the Raiders, and I hope Manchester United beat West Ham.
That'd be awesome. If I honestly right now I'm just so focused on soccer. I kind of already wanted to give up on football, but it's so early that I can't yet.
That's fair enough. Well, thank you very much, Conor, and see you later.